Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk About It Tuesday. I'm Tosca DiMatteo, founder of Tosca Coaching and Consulting, and I'm super excited about our guest today, Joe Apfelbaum. He is the CEO of Ajax Union and many other endeavors, and we're just going to bring him on and get it going. Hello, Joe. Welcome. I'm inviting you right now. Awesome. Wow, you guys are definitely in for an energetic session today. I have no
Hey,
doubt about it.
thank you so much for
Hi.
having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for being on the show. I know you're a busy guy. You have a huge business, the fastest growing in America. We'll talk about that. So I just want to just honor and appreciate that you said yes to this, knowing that you don't have to do this. This is probably helping me more than it's helping you. But I have my jade crystal here for abundance for all that join now and later. So I hope it comes back to you a million times over, your
Thank you.
generosity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? Wherever I am in that moment is exactly where I need to be. So for me, it's not about helping or, who's it going to help more or what's it
Mm,
going to do. For me, it's about
mm,
if I can be with you and create this space for the people that are watching, even if it's 1, 2, 5, 10, 100, or a million people watching, we can just add value to one person by sharing a story, sharing an experience, or just by being with that person, being present with that person. You never know what that can do for
mm.
somebody. Creating a space for somebody is very valuable. So thank you for having me.
Oh man, I couldn't agree more with your sentiment there. And so before we dive into this radical networking idea, I just want to really have you introduce yourself to the audience here and share a little bit about you. Like Brene Brown likes to start her podcast and say, "Tell me your story," and that's that's what I want to hear, Joe. Like, tell us about you, about your life, and yeah, how you got to this point.
So for those that don't know me, my name is Joe Apfelbaum. I'm the CEO of Ajax Union. We're a B2B digital marketing agency based in Brooklyn. Been around for 12 years. Before I started that business, I was doing all types of, I had a full-time job and I had a bunch of side hustles. And I was trying to figure out how I can become financially free, how I can make it, how I can build something. Like many people I see out there, especially in the gig economy right now, I was doing gigs. That's what I was doing. I was building websites and I was doing all types of stuff. And I feel like my inspiration came from my mom. I watched her to try to grow her business for over a decade in the Lower East Side as a teenager. I remember going to her store and watching her hustle for 16 hours a day. And she, you know, for some reason, she went out of business after 10 years. And when I started my business, I was able to build it to be one of the fastest growing companies in the US, generating millions of dollars and growing and growing and growing, 12,000% growth over 3 years. And I look back to ask myself, what are some of the things that my mom did that 96% of business owners do that can't get over the $1 million mark and eventually go out of business? And how was I different? So for me, I'm on a personal development journey where I'm always trying to improve myself. And for me, it was more about trying to find what skills I can learn for the first, from when I was 20 to like 30 something. I was trying to figure out my skills. And then when I launched this business, it wasn't so much about trying to improve my skill set, but it was more about trying to improve my mindset. They say that success is 80% mindset, 20% skill set. And so I realized that with the mindset of abundance, by having the right strategy, by surrounding myself with the right people, for me, that has changed the game for me a lot. And trying to figure out what's going on inside my mind to try to become more aware, have a better strategy, and then have accountability to actually take action and help the people around me take action has been significant. So for me, I watched my parents struggle financially, and I always said that I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make it somehow. I didn't know how I would make it. I have a lot of really great self-confidence because I feel like my parents really loved me. They gave me a lot of love, and they always showered me with love. So I always felt like I can make it. I just never knew how. I just never knew, like, what would be the idea. And I was very overprotective of my ideas back in the day. Now I tell everybody my ideas. I just shared an idea with somebody about having a battery charging station for cars that are electric in 2030. almost all the cars are going to be electric. And Ford just came out with the F-150 in 2022. They just unveiled the F-150 is going to come out, and it's going to be stronger than the gas version. And it's going to be able to drive 300 miles on electric. So everyone's going to have an electric car, and not everybody can plug their car in at home. Sometimes in urban cities, people are out and about, and maybe they're running out. So hopefully we can make an app that will have somebody drop off a charging station by your car, and then just charge your car and then pick up the charging station and charge you for that service. But I'm always thinking of ideas, and ideas are a dime a dozen. The key is executing the idea. Google wasn't the first search engine. Facebook wasn't the first social media app. And Uber wasn't the first car sharing app. So the key is to execute better on the idea. Take an idea that happens. So for me, I'm an ideator. I'm creative. And I love levity. That's why I love these little filters over here. Like, are you more of a cat person? By the way, if you guys are watching this, are you more of a cat person, or are you more of a dog person? Let me know in the comments below. But I love just having a good time and just enjoying myself and learning from other people and growing. And I'm on a personal development journey. I'm trying to figure out how I can add more value. I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I have 5 beautiful children, which I adore very, very much. And I love watching them thrive and watching them grow and watching them being able to just be the best version of themselves, and me just being able to be present for them as they continue to develop as beautiful children. I'm very proud of every single one of them. So that's a little bit about me.
Oh man, what a beautiful, beautiful sharing. Thank you. It's like there were so many things I want to ask you about. And I think the thing that's popping up for me is like your generosity of spirit. Like you're so giving, right? And in a world in which, a lot of people have like a scarcity mindset from time perspective, like myself included, um, where do you think your generosity came from? Like, and how do you give so much knowing that you also have things that you need to get done? Like, how do you balance all of that?
So for me, it's about making sure I understand what my priorities are. There's no such thing as time management. That's what I learned. Time is like a made up thing. Time doesn't exist. What exists is your priorities. So for me, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what are my goals? My goals are to help 1,000 hungry entrepreneurs go from frustration to motivation. So if I can get in front of a few hungry entrepreneurs, for me, that is my priority. So I make time for that every single day. I also read somewhere that the secret to living is giving, and that really resonated with me. And so for me, I know that one day, the one thing that is all guaranteed is that we're all going to die one day, and you can't really take your time with you. But what you could take with you is the impact that you make on people's lives. So for me, I know that if I can impact one person's life, if I can make a difference to one person, for me, that's worth it. I wasn't always this way. I was always worried about making sure that I squeeze in as much work as possible into 16 hours. And I read an article that the best top performing salespeople and entrepreneurs are lazy. And you'd be like, what? How can you say that the best salespeople are lazy? It's because they only focus on the things that matter. There are very few things in life that are going to give you the impact that you need. I had a forum mate. I'm part of Entrepreneurs Organization for many years. And I had someone in my forum who was an athlete. He played football and he was a professional at one time. And he applied a lot of the things that he learned in his career as a professional athlete to business. And one of the things that he said that the top athletes do is that they rest a lot. They have to rest a lot. They have to recover a lot. So they rest, and then they also practice a lot. So if they rest, then they practice. And then when they execute, they only execute for a small portion of their life. So think about execution. The game will last an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Maybe they'll practice for 10, 15, 20, 40, 80 hours, but they'll rest for hundreds of hours. When I get up on stage and I do a presentation, that hour that I do that presentation is like 8 hours of work because I'm really focused and I'm presenting. And I used to be very overweight and I used to get exhausted from doing that. And I realized that I needed to lose that weight and figure out where energy comes from. That's why many of my books start with high energy, like High Energy Secrets and High Energy Purpose and High Energy Marketing and High Energy Answers. And I have a whole series of books that start with high energy because I realized that if I want to have vitality, I need to figure out energy. I need to figure out where energy comes from, where the juice of life comes from. And for that is getting to know who I am, figuring out my values, my strengths, figuring out the things that really excite me, the things that can tap into my why, to my creativity. And so that's how I set my priorities. My priorities are set based on the things that give me life, that give me energy, and I deprioritize all the other things that don't really matter. I have people that I delegate to that support me on doing things like scheduling, even like reminding me to leave this meeting. I don't even know when this will end, but I know that I have a separate phone here. And this phone, when my phone starts buzzing and my assistant starts telling me to go to the next thing, so I could be completely present with you and not worry about what's next. David Allen wrote a book, Getting Things Done. If you haven't read that book, it's one of the most powerful, impactful books in my journey, in my career. And he has systems and processes for prioritizing and for gaining your time. So in terms of time management, there is no such thing as time management. It's about priority management. And if you can learn to clear your mind completely and really be focused and present in what you're doing in that moment, you're going to be able to get so much more done in that 1 hour or that 30 minutes that you're going to be executing, that you can spend the rest of the time recovering and resting. And, you know, for me, I'll work sometimes 10 hours a day because I love what I'm doing so much, but I will also rest during the weekends and completely unplug, turn off my phone completely before I go to sleep. My phone is on airplane mode. Somebody said, what if it's an emergency and a client needs to call you in the middle of the night? I said, if it's an emergency, call 911. I don't drive a fire truck. Although it's fun to drive a fire truck, I don't drive a fire truck. So that's the idea.
Well, and when you're speaking here and also, in how we've engaged, right, with your training programs and things that I've been a part of, like, I just find this amazing, like, connection between both strategy, right, and being thoughtful, like you said, prioritizing, and also you use the term, self-development and personal development. And so, like, spiritual development comes to mind in terms of groundedness and just who you are, not just like what you do. And so I'm curious if you're willing to share about that spiritual side of the journey, because I think a lot of people, and it's certainly a lot of clients that I serve, right, come from a corporate arena in which it's very hard to get to that spiritual development inside and say, hey, there's more to you than this productivity and this output. So I'd love to hear about your journey with that and what it means to you.
There's a very interesting balance between doing and being. There's a very big balance between, and that's something I didn't discover till recently. I actually wrote a book about this called High Energy Purpose, the concept of being. A lot of people think that spirituality is about doing something, and for me, spirituality is not about going and doing stuff. Maybe that's religious, like being religious and like, doing activities and doing good deeds and all that. That's great. For me, it's about being able to experience something. So if I can experience my children, if I can truly give them my presence, if I can create a space for them, for me, that's spiritual. If I can experience my own thoughts, my own mind, if I can meditate and just really get connected with my essence, with God, if I can connect with that, that's spiritual. Judging other people and being negative and all that stuff, that's the opposite of spirituality. And that's very low vibration, but very high mental activity. Fear, which stands for false evidence that appears real, that locks us in to the low vibration states. And for me, what I want to do is I want to have joy. I want to have freedom. I want to have happiness. I want to be around people that love and that respect and that honor. And if what happens is sometimes, especially when we're younger, we get connected to people in our life that maybe don't have those vibrations. Maybe they're not in a place where they can experience joy. Maybe sometimes there's trauma, there's things that happen. I believe that hurt people hurt other people. So when somebody's abusing somebody, it's typically because they themselves were abused. Often we find this with people that are molesting children and so on. I can't even imagine how somebody can do that, but you find out that they themselves had that experience. So it ends up being kind of like a vicious circle, that parents do things to kids and then kids do that to their kids and so on, and they pass that on. And I feel like that people can break that cycle if they can get a little more spiritual, if they can get a little more present, if they can get a little more connected to their essence. And at the essence, everybody is love. Everybody is love at their essence. And if you can get connected to that, then you can be more. If you can be more, then you can experience more. If you can experience more, then you can create space for other people to experience as well. And so for me, that is what spirituality is about. It's about not judging other people. It's about truly accepting and loving the people around you and connecting in a way where you create the possibility for space. And sometimes that's not possible with some people. You know, some other people say cut negative people off. Like if you have somebody in your life, I don't believe that you need to cut negative people off. I believe that you need to accept and love them, and sometimes not spend too much time with them if they're affecting your well-being. But, you know, the key is to be able to be present for people, create a space, and sometimes that'll trigger people. You know, I have people that me being myself, they're allergic to that. I don't know if you've ever experienced, if you've ever put yourself out there and had thousands of people seeing you on social media, and some people will post negative comments. And the question is, what compels somebody to go onto my post and tell me to shave my beard and say, you're part of the Taliban, shave your beard, or say something like, you're fake and you're a liar and you're not authentic. And like, why would somebody say that? They don't even know who I am. I don't know who they are, but they feel compelled to spew this negativity. And it happens more often on sites like YouTube than on sites like LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, I believe, is a little bit safer. So I spend more time there because it's more professional, and I have my tribe there. I have over 30,000 people that are following me, and I have millions of views on my content every single year. And so for me, it's not about going viral. It's about being present and connecting. I believe that if one person watches my content, if one person gets affected positively by the things that I share, it's worth it for me to put myself out there in that way. And so for me, spirituality is about being authentic, being real, being grounded, being connected, being in joy, and being in higher vibration, and being more connected with your spirit. That's what the word spiritual is, being more connected with your spirit.
Oh man, I'm so glad that we're recording this because, you know, the way you talk about these concepts is just so, it's just so, what's the word I'm looking for? Approachable and inviting, you know, and real. You know, I think some of these concepts, you know, they can get so, um, it can just be in the ether but not in a grounded place, you know. And I think that's what makes it so wonderful, because it's like, oh, I can connect with that, right? Like, oh, I can understand what it means to just be present, you know. And it's not anything woo woo. It's living life. It's being on earth and getting the most out of it, you know. And
But some people do think it's woo-woo to be connected to your breath. Some people think it's like, hang on a second, let's go get things done. Let's get it done. Stop with the whole being thing. Why are you just being? Why are you just breathing? Go get it done. And those people are in their head. And here's the famous saying that I heard Tony Robbins say, and I heard many other coaches say: if you're in your head, you're dead. Anxiety, depression, sadness, frustration, loneliness, guilt, shame, all these feelings exist when we're in our head. If you're in your body, all that doesn't exist. If you're in nature, if you're connected to another person, you cannot be depressed if you're in service. If you're not thinking about yourself, you're not depressed. If you're thinking about, how can I add value to Tosca today? How can I add value to the people watching here? How can I make a difference? And often it's about sharing your own experience. Often it's about connecting and not being worried about who's going to judge you. Other people's opinions are none of your business. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think that they have to worry about the judgments and the justifications of other people. And so if something's going on in my personal life, it's personal, it's mine. And if people have opinions about it, that doesn't matter to me because other people's opinions are none of my business. I am living my life and I am playing in the game of life. I am living my life. When you're a player in the game of your life, the opinions of other people, they don't matter because the opinions of other people are the opinions of the fans. Now think about this. Could you imagine if you were a hockey player, if you were a basketball player, if you were in the opera, if you were a performer, a high-level performer, and every time a fan made a comment, you got affected and you couldn't play anymore? How good of a player would you be? You'd be a terrible player. You would suck because there's always going to be a disgruntled fan that'll get angry at whether you did this or whether you did that. The key is, are you playing the game? Are you in the game or are you in the stands? If you're in the game, the opinions of the fans don't matter. No one's living your life. Nobody knows what you're really going through. So you have to do what's best for you, for your kids, for your family, for your friends, for your community, for the things that you believe to be true. And if you're in joy, if you're in freedom, if you're excited, if you're able to be yourself and express yourself, well, then that's life. That's life. Don't overthink it. Be it.
Well, Joe, and your passion, it just and your light just shines so bright with this. And I'm curious if it was always this way for you, right? Like this, like, yeah, like how did you come to this kind of passion for authenticity, for being yourself, for not giving a F-U-C-K about what other people think, you know?
Yeah, and it was, so for I would say for the first 2 decades of my life, from 0 to 20, I was trying to figure out why I didn't really have, like, I always felt like I didn't have that click. I saw the people, they had the click. Like, why didn't I have the click? And I was always searching for the click, but I never really wanted to be in a click. That was the first 20 years of my life. And I had different wounds that, different things that happened with my teachers, with my friends. And I've spoken about this a lot. And so for me, those wounds, like, they affected me. It was very, very painful. And so I experienced pain. I experienced, searching. But then I said, you know what? My priority is not focusing on my pain. My priority right now is focusing on how can I make a living for my family. So that was like my focus. So from like 20 to 30, that's all that I was concerned with. I was like, if I get really good at web design, if I get really good at SEO, if I get really, really good at building things and connecting with people, if I got really good at that stuff, at IT services, I had an IT services business and a web design business. If I only had the right idea and the right skill, I would be able to be financially free. And if I was financially free, my life would be amazing. Was I worried about my health? No, I didn't care about my health. Was I worried about relationships, really, like going deep? I was too afraid of going deep on relationships because I was hurt in the past and I didn't want to go deep. Did I have my photo on social media? Absolutely not. I was against social media. I was against having my photo online. I was against public speaking. I never got up and spoke publicly. And I had all these fears that were hidden by excuses, by reasons. I always say you have reasons or you have results. And if you have a lot of reasons but not a lot of results and you're frustrated about it, chances are there's some fear that you're not aware of that you're not tapping into. So I had a lot of fear and I was fear-based and I was still making money, but it was very fear-based. So I built my business. I did my thing. I found a partner who loved me and appreciated me, and we became best friends, and we built one of the fastest growing companies in America. And at some point when I made money and I finally got to that place, I realized that I'm unhappy, that I am not fulfilled, that I am scared. I started public speaking and I was scared. And I was like, why am I scared? I'm successful. Why do I feel like no matter how much success I have, I'm still not successful? And it had to do with my insecurities as to who I was really, imposter syndrome, all this other stuff. And so I started searching and I started going to classes and reading books and trying to figure out what's going on. And I reverse engineered personal development, figuring out what does it take to figure out your purpose and who you are and your why and your values, and kind of just like really getting to know my personality. And I took all these assessments and I went on this whole personal development journey. And what I found was that I am perfect the way that I am. And if I can get complete with myself where I am, then I can create anything I want. And so I decided that I'm going to go on this journey to learn new skills, the skill of writing, the skill of public speaking, the skill of social media, the skill of networking, the skill of connecting with people. And these are all soft skills that I wasn't born with and nobody's born with. And I didn't even have a talent for this. I am not talented at speaking. I am good at speaking because it's a skill that I built by training over 10,000 business owners and sweating my butt off, working through the pain, and then figuring out how to let go of that judgment and the fear and the insecurities and all this stuff that is holding me back from being successful. And if you can do this, and I believe that everybody can, if you're willing to get out of your comfort zone, if you're willing to go into the pain, if you're willing to connect with who you really are, and the people around you are willing to support you, then you are like a rocket that can become and do anything. And the question is, what change do you want to create in this world? What impact do you want to make? For some people, it's very, very simple. They want to be able to help other people get to where they got. I know somebody who got divorced and they got remarried and they found the love of their life and they got remarried to the love of their life. And now what this person does is they help other divorced people be able to get over their divorce and be able to find the love of their life. Because, you know, not everybody hits it on the first time. That's the reality. Some people, they don't realize it because they lack awareness, but they stay for the kids, for this, for that, for whatever it is. And you know, at the end of the day is you got to be authentic to who you really are. If you're married to somebody, whether it's a partner in business, you're married to a partner, and my partner left. I no longer have my partner. I had a partner for many years, and then he decided he's ready to do something else. And what got you here is not going to get you there. What gets you to 5 million in revenue is not going to get you to 10. What gets you to 10 is not going to get you to 20. And the same thing, that's why there's 50% of people get divorced. That's why most businesses go out of business when the partners fall apart, because they can't figure out how to do it in an amicable way. But if you could figure out a way to make it as amicable as possible and to live your life and to be able to connect and be authentic to who you are and be kind and be generous and realize that it's all about giving and being present and not fighting, but really connecting and trying to be as good as you can with the resources that you have, you're going to be able to live an impactful life. You're going to be able to make a difference for other people. And I live my life with 3 core values: creativity, curiosity, and levity. Those are my 3 core values. So for those that know me, they know that I have to be creative, and I have, like, there's no way about it. Like, if I don't have creativity in my life, I cannot, you know, like I was always doing creative things. That's why I'm great at marketing. That's why I'm great at personal development. It has to do with creativity. I'm always asking questions. I've interviewed hundreds of CEOs to figure out what does it take to be successful, because success leaves clues. I love interviewing people. I love having conversations. I love having conversations with you, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone, whether it's through Instagram like this. So I absolutely am curious to the end of the world. My mother used to call me touchy touch when I was little, because I absolutely love touching everything and reverse engineering everything. So I love messing around with things and playing and having a good time. And of course, levity is not taking life too seriously. Realizing that you can have fun, you can enjoy life. That's why I like doing improv and stand-up comedy and things like that. And so if I can live those 3 core values, then I can be more present, more grounded, more connected. And of course, love is important. Of course, spirituality and being present and being centered and being connected and being true to who you are. And for me, giving to other people and making a difference, whether it's financially, giving to people that need help with finances, for me, my mission is to help hungry entrepreneurs go from frustration to motivation. We have hundreds of students that we've trained over the past 2 years on how to use LinkedIn. And I have over 300 testimonials on my LinkedIn profile. I'm adding value to people. Am I doing it for the money? No, I'm not doing it for the money. Does money come when you add massive value? Yes, I see this over and over and over. If I could add $1 million of value to your life, you're not going to pay me $10,000? Of course you will. No question about it. I just have a coaching client that just messaged me today. He said, Joe, I just had my first $15,000 month. He launched his business 2 months ago, and he had no idea what to do, and he wanted to go to school and this and that and the other thing, and we coached together, and his goal was $5,000. He just made $15,000 with a $5,000 goal, and he literally wrote, Joe, this is because of the things we worked on. I said, it's all you. I created a space for you. Maybe I gave you a little more awareness. Maybe I gave you a little more strategy. Maybe I helped you with a little more accountability to make sure you take action on the things that you said you would do. But the $15,000 that you earned this past month and the $20,000 you're going to earn next month and the growth that you're going to have is because of your work, your hunger, your willingness not to partner with the wrong people. There was one guy that came over to him and said, I want to partner with you because I sent you one client. I want to send you many more. So I said, just because he sends you one client, it doesn't mean he needs to be your partner yet. Let's see how many more he'll send you. Give him profit share, very aggressive profit share, but don't give him 50% of your LLC because he decided he's giving you one client and he wants you to work for him. So it turns out that the guy now wants him to be his partner, meaning like he wants to partner in his business and not even, so he's desperate for this guy to produce for him. So he's like, that would have been the biggest mistake of my life. And he wanted to do it. He was like, Joe, I really think I should do this because he promised to send me clients. And I was like, you're not a dumb person. This would make sense if he sent you what he promised. So first let him put his money where his mouth is. Let him do what he said he's going to do and then partner with him. But most people, they end up just, living into these weird promises and they end up getting stuck. Hey, Allison, welcome, welcome, welcome. Looks like people are commenting.
Yes,
Cool.
yes, but lots of people come in and out and awesome. And Allison is somebody that I'm working with too now. It's great. It's super awesome. Speaking of, and it came about through networking. And I want to circle back to this, right? Because this is titled like radical networking, right? And so I think that one of the big fears that people have around networking, right, around asking for what they need and getting what they want, is that I get a sense that people just think the value is all one way and that when you reach out to somebody, it's because you want something and it's just this one way thing and it feels icky, so I'd love to hear about what networking is for you and what's your mindset about it.
I just wrote a book called High Energy Networking. I just wrote 30% of the book. I'm not publishing yet because I have to write the other 70%. And then I have to get it edited and I have to publish it. But I'm in the middle of writing this book around this concept because networking is so powerful. So powerful. And for me, the philosophy of networking is that givers gain. Givers gain. What does it mean that givers gain? If you're not in it to give to other people, if you're not in it to be able to make a difference for other people, people are going to see that. That's the truth. People are going to see that you're just doing it for yourself. If you're not in it to give to other people, people are going to see that. And so to be successful at networking, it's doing the hard work and making the introductions. It's doing the hard work and making a difference for other people. This is something that I learned because in the beginning, I thought networking was about going around and giving your business card and waiting for people to give you business. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Networking is about getting to know people, but first getting to know yourself. You cannot truly be a giver to other people if your own cup is not full. If your cup is not full, how are you supposed to give to other people? If you feel like everyone's just taking from you all the time and you're giving the responsibility for self-love to other people, there's no way that you'll ever be successful. And so the key is to taking a step back and realizing that your self-love is your responsibility. And you have to give to yourself first. And coming from a place of like, I'm complete, now I can start giving to other people. If I have everything that I need, and I also know what I need from other people, what my request is from other people. A lot of people go into networking saying, I just want to be a giver. I want to be a giver, give, give, give. I don't need to take from anybody. That's not the right approach. You need a balanced approach. You need to know what you can give and what you need. I call it leads and needs. And so my philosophy is have a balanced approach. Know exactly what it is that you can give. Know exactly what it is that you need in your life and what you're looking for, what your goals are, and so on. And then authentically connect with people that can connect with you. I make about 3 introductions every single day. That's my goal. So when I meet somebody, I say, hey, who are you looking to meet? Because even if I only know 100 people in my life, I can introduce this person to one of those 100 people. I know many more than 100 people. I probably know several thousand people in my life that I know what they do, who they are, who they're looking to meet, and I document this information. But, the truth is, I can't connect with millions of people. You just can't. LinkedIn has a 30,000 connection limit for a reason. Facebook has a 5,000 friend limit for a reason. Clubhouse, you can't follow more than 2,500 people for a reason. I believe, and I agree with Robin Dunbar, who was a scientist who studied human connections, and she said that the average human being can't have more than 150 relationships at one time. And so 150 is a good number. So ask yourself, who are my 150 relationships? Not contacts. Who are the 150 people that I love, that I want to connect with, that I want to add value to, that work with my ideal client? And then build a relationship with them. Maybe it's Allison. Hey, Allison, Joe, she said, Joe, you walk your talk. You walk your talk. In our first 2 conversations, you have so much value. You have me so much value. Thank you. You gave me so much value. So thank you. For me, it's about giving. I'm not here to take anything. Now, of course, if somebody says, Joe, what can I do to add value to your life? I'm going to give them a plethora of things they can do to pass things along, to make a difference. But for me, I'm here to give. And if me giving adds enough value that you want to give something back to me, I can tell you how you can add value to me. But the key is for me to be present. And sometimes me just being present for you, Tosca, me just listening to you, me just being a soundboard for you and saying back what I heard, that is enough. That is enough. So many people don't even listen. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So listen double and speak less. But of course, if you're on an Instagram Live, you want to share and you want to add value and you want to speak. But the key is network is realize that net, to get the profit, which is the net profit, it takes work and it takes ing. It takes doing. So you have to do the work to get the profit. But the key in the middle, it's the biggest word is work. Because work is hard work and you have to do the work. You have to get to know people. You have to have conversations. You have to figure out what people need in their life. So ask yourself, do I know what 150 people need? And a lot of people that I ask this question, they're like, I don't. She's like, because I'm so thinking about my problems that I don't realize other people's problems. I don't know what they are. So if I know who you're looking to meet and I know what your problem is, I can probably help you solve it. And if I can help enough people solve their problems, my problems will all be solved.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Yes, and Anita had said she misses you. Glad to see you back online, she said.
I took a little break from Instagram stories
Okay,
just to
gotcha.
see if anybody misses me. And it looks like Anita misses me. So
You are missed. You are missed. You are loved. And I want to gosh, I was so tempted to say, I want to slow down and I want to wait. I want to talk about this, but I didn't because you just you're giving so much value. I don't want to interrupt the flow. But right now, I want to go back because I think this concept and I just want to make this connection for people, which I think is so powerful, which is when you're in the space of networking, that's what you need to do. You need to expand your circle, whether you're building your business, whether you're searching for a job, whatever it is, that this concept of self-love, right? And knowing who you are, knowing your value is step 1 so that when you are interacting, it's not coming from a place of desperation or I'm not good enough, but from a place of I know me, I know I bring value to any conversation, and let's see what magic is possible in this connection. That to me is like a concept that we don't really talk about when it comes to networking. We get right into the strategy or the tactics and not the self-development work that you've been talking about that I think is the foundation of radical networking.
they say there's a famous saying that if you're in the jar, you cannot read the label. If you're in the jar, you
Mm.
cannot read the label. And blind spots they exist. Everybody has blind spots. We cannot see what we cannot see. It's called lack of awareness. A lot of people have sight, but they don't have vision. They can't see who they really are. And so sometimes it takes working with a coach like health coach Sarah, or like you, Tosca, working with a coach like Jacob Busani, who's in the audience right now, working with a coach to help you see your blind spots because you can't see it yourself. Sometimes a therapist can help you, but I worked with so many high performance coaches. I worked with so many therapists. I've been to all different types of therapy that you could imagine, from business therapy to marriage therapy to personal therapy to cognitive behavioral therapy to EMDR therapy. I've been to all the therapies. I've done lots of different coaching. And the truth is, through all that, you come to terms with who you are. If you are feeling lack of awareness, if you're feeling fear, guilt of other people's opinions, trust me, I know a lot of people that are very close to me that are afraid of other people's opinions, like the fear of death. Like the fear of death, that someone should get to know the real me, because they figure out the real me, they're not going to love me anymore. But the truth is, nobody has to love you. You have to love yourself. And when we look at ourselves, if we hate somebody else, it's because we hate ourselves. If I can truly love every human being, it's because I truly love myself. And if I have racism or hate or any of this stuff, it's because I don't love myself. That's the truth. Hurt people hurt other people. This is the fact. And so if you lack that awareness, if you lack that self-love, it comes up in depression. It comes up in frustration. It comes up in loneliness. It comes up in guilt. It comes up in anxiety. If you have a lot of anxiety, it has to do with fear, because all that's based in fear. If you can get out of fear, then you're alive. But if you're in fear, then you're basically just living like most human beings. It's the human condition. Like being resigned, feeling that resignation from life and just giving up on life. That's the human condition, because we're trying to survive. That's how we were for years, eons and eons and eons. We're trying to survive. So our DNA is made to survive, not to thrive. We're not made to be passionate. We're made to be afraid of death. And it's good to be afraid of death. Now, the thing is, there is no tiger out. Look, tigers? No, I don't see any tigers. There's no tigers. So instead of tigers, we're afraid of other people's mouths. They say the mouth is sharper than the sword. Why? If you have an ego, the mouth can destroy your ego. But if you yourself deflate your ego, if you have a lot of pain, and it takes a lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain to deflect your ego, sometimes being married to somebody that yells the shit out of you, sometimes that will be the pain that you need to go through in order for you to get to your next level. Everything that happens in your life is in your favor if you believe that it is. Everything that happens in your life is to cleanse you and to make you better. And if you can believe that and you can see that, then you can accept it. And if you can accept it, then you don't have to reject things. The more you reject it, the more you resist life, the more that will persist. If you're feeling unhappy and you don't want it, well, then you're going to have more of that unhappiness. If instead you acknowledge the unhappiness and you try to figure out, okay, what's making me unhappy? Maybe what's making me unhappy is being in a business that I absolutely don't like. And so changing that, and you realizing, oh my gosh, I don't like my business, and doing another thing, now all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm happy now. Do what makes you happy. Not at other people's expense, but do what makes you happy. And so what I always tell people, if you're feeling like you want somebody else to give you love so that you feel complete, if you're living that victim mentality that a lot of people are living, you're not living. You're surviving. You are treading mother effing water. And there's nothing wrong with treading water, except that it's exhausting. Have you tried it? You can do it for a minute. You can do it for an hour. Emotionally, you can do it for 7 years. But after 10 years of treading water, you're basically fed up. You're basically done. And when you're done, you crack. You have a panic attack. You go to the hospital. You start taking drugs. You try to figure out what Elvis Presley did. I don't need to take drugs to be happy. I don't need to drink alcohol to be happy. I drink water because happiness I know comes from within. If I want to do drugs and alcohol, great. Do it to celebrate. Do it to say l'chaim, mazel tov. If you want to do it in moderation. Do everything in moderation. But self-love comes from your own heart. I love my kids from my heart, and they know it because they tell me, Tati, I know you love me, and they give me a big fat kiss and say, I am so proud of you. I love you so much. They tell me that in every interaction they finish with I love you. Not all families do that. Some families, they don't say I love you because you have to mean it first. F you. Because you know what? You don't love yourself. You can't say I love you to somebody because you don't love yourself. If you really love yourself, you can love your kids. Parents that don't like their kids, it's because they don't like themselves and their ego is blocking them from giving their kids unconditional love. Unconditional love is real, but you have to have unconditional love for yourself first. You can't have conditions. Oh, if I'm successful, I will love myself. If I'm sexy, I will love myself. I used to believe that. If I was a good-looking guy and I was skinny, I'd be happy. I got skinny. I didn't get any happier, okay? I got successful. I didn't get any happier, okay? As a matter of fact, I got more depressed. I got sadder. What I found was that if I want to bring joy in my life, I got to change my physical state, my focus. My focus is so important. My physical state. When I go for a run, I get the endorphins flowing. Boom, boom, I get excited. I'm focused on my gratitude, my health, my blessings, my children, my life, the people that I love. And then from there, I use the right affirmations, the right words. Now I'm in joy. Now I'm in happiness. Some people call that fake happiness. Self-made happiness is not fake happiness. It's the same happiness. It makes you smile, gives you dopamine, gives you epinephrine, gives you all the things that you need, all the chemicals that you need. It's all chemicals. We're like a machine that's all based on chemicals. So you want to wait for circumstance to give you happiness? Have a good day. That's not for me. I'm not a victim. I'm a happy person because I create my own happiness, just like I create my own wealth, just like I create my own abundance, just like I create my own opportunity. It's up to me. I get to decide how I think and how I feel. I get to decide how I think and how I feel. And if I can decide how I think and how I feel, I can create any emotion I want. I can create any relationship I want, starting with myself and with the people around me. And if somebody else is upset about that, none of my business. If somebody else sees my positivity, sees my happiness, sees my joy, sees my freedom, sees my self-expression, and they have an allergic reaction from them, that's on them, not on me. I'm not going to take responsibility for somebody else's allergic reaction to my authenticity. Be yourself, love yourself, and everybody else will either love you to death or hate your guts. And when those people hate your guts, step away. You don't have to bother them. You can block them if you want. You have to go crazy. You could block them. That's okay. That doesn't mean you hate them. That just means they're no longer in your life as much. They might still be in your life and you can be civil, but you don't have to irritate their irritation by being around them. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, Joe. And, you know, I know there's people watching now and there's people watching later. They're going to be like, damn, like I want to be like Joe, right? Like we need a whole new campaign. And so you've given so many nuggets of wisdom, like so much advice, so much counsel, so much inspiration. And I'm like, preach, Joe, preach. And I'm curious, like, for people who are like, I'm nowhere near at that place. I'm nowhere near the self-love that I want. I'm nowhere near the confidence that Joe's got. Like, what advice would you have? Like, what can people do differently, like today, to be more like Joe?
First of all, if you want to be more like Joe, if you want mojo, if you want some more mojo in your life, if you want motivation, the key is to remember one thing. Overnight success is 10 years in the making. This level of happiness and joy and freedom and abundance and creativity and all the stuff that I am experiencing is systems and processes, beliefs and programming, software in my head that I installed through getting coaching, through journaling, intense journaling for years, journaling, trying to figure out what the hell's my problem, what's wrong with me. coaching, journaling, meditation, affirmations, exercise, getting healthy, drinking enough water. By the way, a 5% drop in hydration is a 30% drop in energy. If you are not hydrated, you will not be motivated. Your brain will go into survival mode if it's physically not abundant with water. This is proven by Dr. Amen, who studied the brain. If your brain is dehydrated, your brain takes up 20% of all the energy in your body, and the energy comes from water, from oxygen. If you're not breathing through meditation, if you're not drinking water, you will automatically be engineered to be depressed. I get sad when I don't drink enough water. This is a fact. A fact. So when I see people that are sad and I say, hang on a second, how much water did you drink today? And they said nothing. I say, drink more water. So the first thing you can do is drink water. That's number one. Change your body. Number two, exercise. If you are not pushing yourself, if you're not breaking a sweat, you're not getting the endorphins that you need to feel happiness. So if you don't love yourself, it's because you don't have the right hormones. And the right hormones come not from drugs, not from drugs, not from drugs. SSI inhibitors are going to be a Band-Aid for your depression. It comes from exercise, natural hormone creation. Now, some people also need the drugs. Take the drugs. I don't care. But exercise, 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 exercise. And number three is understanding that gratitude is a choice. For where your focus goes, energy flows. So if you can just focus, even for 1 minute every single day, on what you're grateful for, slowly doing that for years will help you improve your life. So those three things: drink more water, start exercising, and start focusing on what you're grateful for. And hopefully that will help get you in the right direction. And realize that just take one step. You don't need to change everything at once. You don't need to get to Mount Everest in 5 minutes. First, put on your boots. Put on your boots. If you're going to go to Mount Everest, you need hiking boots. Yes, you need hiking boots. So put on your goddamn boots and then go on Google Maps and watch some inspirational videos. You know how many videos of inspiration I watched? Hundreds of hours of inspiration. I watched The Secret on Netflix over and over and over and over. People say, Joe, you're very obsessive. Yes, I am obsessive. I'm obsessed with success. I'm obsessed with happiness. I'm obsessed with positivity. I'm obsessed with joy. But I don't have toxic positivity. I don't ignore when bad things aren't happening. Sometimes you get hurt, sometimes you fall, and it's okay to be sad. It's okay to acknowledge anxiety. It's okay to be depressed, and it's okay to be angry. But realize, and something that I realized through therapy, is that anger is a secondary emotion. Anger comes from the water boiling. Water needs to get to 212 degrees in order to boil. Anxiety is you heating up the water to 100 degrees. So at 100 degrees, you can tolerate anxiety. But anxiety over time starts building up, and eventually it gets to 200 degrees. It's pretty effing hot, and it's very uncomfortable. You end up getting frustration, and if that doesn't get dealt with, you end up getting anger. And what happens with anger is it leads to resentment, which gets stored in steam in your brain and in your muscles and in all this stuff. And what you need to do is just let go. Forgive the people in your life. Hey, I'm giving a big shout out to my daughter here, Esther, whom I love very, very much. Esther, I love you from the bottom of my heart, and I miss you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. The key is to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and realize that you got the rest of your life to live. So create a space for the people in your life. Be yourself, be authentic, get over all your fears, and if you can do that, you will get motivated! Woo!
All right, Joe, listen, thank you for that. That was like lots of great advice, real, tangible, in the moment, start it right now, to change your life, to really change your life through loving yourself, through radical networking. And so I just want to ask you to share, like, where can people find more about you? Um, where can they go to get more connected to what you're doing and what you're offering? And very importantly, what are you needing right now? People who want to give back, people who want to keep in mind your desires. Who do you want to be connected with, and how can we support you?
So if you want to connect with me, feel free to check me out on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn and check out my activity. I have over 5,000 posts on LinkedIn. Many of them are motivational, so definitely go check me out. You can go to joelinkedin.com. Somebody on Instagram just messaged me, said, Joe, how do I find your books? Go to amazon.com, search Joe Apfelbaum, or just search on Google Joe Apfelbaum books or Joe Apfelbaum Amazon. You'll find my books there and you can buy them. For me, it's about what can I do to add value to your life. So if you're watching this, the live or the replay, just send me a DM. Literally, that's my only action item. Send me a DM. I see every DM I get, and let me know what value you got from this. Let me know what I can do to add value. Let me know who you want to meet. Who can I introduce you to? If you're suffering in your life right now and you're stuck, allow me to help you with your frustration by letting me know why you're frustrated. That's the only ask that I have right now. So let's just share with me. Let me know what you got out of this. Let me know where you're stuck in your life, and just send me a private DM. Follow me on LinkedIn if you like, or get one of my books. That's what I got for you.
Amazing. And listen, Joe, I know you often do a little, rap, spontaneous rap. I wrote a little something for you as a thank you as we close out. Um, and oh, like Jay Ashton, the value you give me is boner, and now I'm frustrated. I love it. The levity, the value of levity is hilarious. All right, so this is for you, Joe, as we wrap up, so that you can make your next meeting
Did I give
before
you a beat?
hopefully. Ah, Joe takes on the world with the joy in his heart. His mastery of networking is like a fine piece of art. He's a connector of the divine kind, freely giving his most precious resource, time. Like Dr. Eager says, love is spelled Time. And Joe encourages everyone to just be the best version of who they are. And if they do, he knows they'll go far. Not just in business, but in life, you see. For the magic isn't in wealth, it's in the word please. Please be kind to fellow mankind. And maybe if you do, he'll bust out in rhyme. For kindness doesn't even cost a dime, and it's not sour like a green ripe lime. Joe, I have to thank you for being on my show, for your wisdom and always sharing what you know, for helping others like me follow their dreams and build heart-led, growing companies. So kindly you said yes to talk about it Tuesday. You show us all that yes, generosity is the way. So thank you on this very fine day. And with that, I'll ask you if there's anything else you have to say.
Thank you. Give her a round of applause. Round of applause. Amazing, amazing poem. That was really, really beautiful. I really appreciate it very, very much. Thank you so much. And I am looking forward to being on your show again in the future. I'm really, really glad that I was able to be here and be able to share just a moment with you. So thank you so much. And for those of you that are struggling, remember the secret to living is giving. So just be present, connect, and make a difference in people's lives. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Joe. Appreciate you and look forward to the next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Ciao for now, everyone. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining.